right, today we're going to move on and start talking about what we call functions. So there are different relations, like when we're talking about graphs, those are all different relations between your x and your y, your ordered pairs, and not every single graph is actually going to represent a function. So we're going to look more into that as well in just a little bit. But basically, what a function itself is, by definition, it's a special type of relation that pairs each input or your x value with one, exactly one and only one y value or output. So we're going to look at how we can tell if it's a function from a table, a set of ordered pairs, what we call a mapping diagram, and also a graph. So this first video is just going to be looking at, okay, well, if we have a table, how are we going to figure out if that is a relation that describes a function? So all functions are relations, but not all relations are functions. They have to pass a few of these tests. So let's look and start from the beginning. So if we have a table, we're going to look at the x column. If the x values are different, then it is a function. If any of the x values repeat, and they're repeating, and I should say in specific to that, if they repeat to different y values. So let's say that they have a table when x is 2 and y is 3. If they list x again as 2 and y is 3, yeah, the x repeated, but still matched to the one only y value, so technically that's a function. So we'll talk more about that when we see some examples. So if the x was repeating, like if it was when x was 2, y is 3, and then you saw later on when x was 2, y was negative 8, well, the x repeated matched to a different y value, therefore it's not a function. So it can only be going to one and only one value of y. So then it is not a function. Because a lot of students want to say, okay, if the x repeats, it's not a function. But you have to be careful. It could repeat as long as it's repeating with the same y value. All right, so the y values are very important, but not determining if that table represents a function or not. So the y values could be all the same. So we could have all different x values and all their y values be the same number. And it would still technically be a function because the x's are going to one and only one y value. The y values could be all different. And some y values may be the same, and others are different. So the main thing that we need to look at is determining if it's a function. That special kind of relation is if the x value is matched to one and only one y value. So let's look at these tables and decide. So we want to decide whether they are functions or not. So we always want to look at the x value. That's what we need to look at. So when x is 1, y is 5. When x is 2, y is 6. X is 3, y is 7. X is 4, y is 8. So just based on those ordered pairs, none of those x's repeat. So you actually know that there's none of those repeating. So it wasn't like x is 1, y is 5, x is 1, y is 6. So we actually know that this is a function. Okay? So now if we look at this next table, we have negative 3, negative 1, negative 1, and 2 for x. So we see that the x's repeat. But remember, if they repeat to different y values, then it's okay. If they repeat if they repeat to different y values, then it's not a function. So this right here, when y is 9, y can't be 10. They make it separate. So this is not a function. So if they repeat to different y values, it's not a function. But if this said negative 1, 9, and then negative 1, 9 again, 9 is the same number, so then it would have been a function. So that's where you got to be careful. All right, so let's keep going. When x is all these -2, the first three, and then this one's +2. So all of these are the same. Are their y values different? And they are. Because they are different, we say that it is not a function. So again, it is only a function if the x value is matched to one and only one y value. All these numbers are different, so therefore it's not a function. And let's look at this last part. 3, 4, 8, and 9. Again, it doesn't matter what the y values are, you really need to just look at the x's. All of those x values are different, none of them repeat, so we actually know that is a function. So if you're given a table, this is how you would determine if it's a function or not. So in the next video, we're going to look and see what about if it's a set of points, like ordered pairs.